What up? What's going on, good people? Welcome to another episode of the 710 The Slickville Show. I am your host, Jay Brown, a.k.a. Jay Slick, a.k.a. Mr. 710 in these streets. And look, this is a serious show. We got a serious show tonight. As you can tell, I am dressed up in my best with my glasses on because we serious today. This is about to go down in these streets. And look, y'all probably seen my guest before on another show. We was talking about car buying in these streets. And listen, people be asking me where I find my guests and why I get who I get. And so today we're going to be talking about parenting in this age of information and this continued age of injustice. It's a lot going on out here in these streets, but I wasn't out here trying to find who. I put it to you like this: it wouldn't be anybody better to find to talk about parenting than somebody that I felt was a good parent.
Oh, well, thank you.
You know, I wouldn't be out here trying to find I don't need nobody with no psychology degree or nothing like that. They kids usually crazy. Just like I wouldn't need anybody out here with no psychology degree to be out here talking about dating. They usually have all the worst experiences. And so right here, we're going to be talking about parenting. Look, so y'all know how we do this. Share this feed, like, comment, call in if you have any questions or comments. Because if you got kids, if you know somebody that got kids, if you got nieces, nephews, anybody that you babysit, you got anybody that you are mentoring or that you can influence as a youngin', go ahead and tune into this, because there's going to be a lot of information on here that you'll want to get. And don't be selfish. That's all I want. That's all I want to tell you. Just don't be selfish out here in these streets. All right. So look, like I said, we're doing that, and then we're gonna do a segment if we got time for it, because I know how these things go. It's gonna be called Your First Time. Now it's not what you think. Not 100.
I'm ready.
Not 100% what you think, but you always, like it can get off the rails sometimes. But your first time, I don't think it's not gonna be that. Not 100%. Shout out to everybody out here in these chat rooms out here on Instagram as well as Facebook. Go ahead and share this feed if you ain't already done it. But look, I also want to do a contest. I want to do a contest because we're going to talk about also this new segment called Since Last Week. And since last week, we're going to do a contest, a Make Erikka Laugh contest with a comment. So
okay.
when we get to that point, if you could post a comment on this particular subject that can make Erikka laugh, I'm gonna go ahead and send you a T-shirt. I'm gonna send you a T-shirt if you can make Erikka laugh. That's if we get to this. If we get to it. But you know what? I'm not even gonna wait. I wanna jump right into this parenting. Right now, like I said, it's a lot of stuff. It's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's a lot of stuff that. Before we get to that, how you doing today? I'm sorry.
No, I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure to be here. Super excited. I always appreciate the opportunity. So
I'm all rude and stuff. And for the people that don't know you or didn't see you on the first time when we was at the other situation, go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself.
my name is Erikka Tiffani. I'm originally from California. I've lived in Georgia for about 16 years. I've been in the car business most of those years, doing business development, sales manager, and internet sales. So have a lot of experience in that, also in the entertainment industry. So super excited about anytime I get to talk about anything that's not cars. So this will definitely be a pleasure.
Oh, yeah. Now, cars might come up, but not in that way.
Right.
You're not going to be out here having to hustle no whips on this show, even though you are real good at it.
For sure.
Because where you are right now. But look, okay, so we're going to just jump right into it. Look, just so to get a frame of reference for who we talking to, I need everybody, if you're in the chat room, go ahead and put your hometown in there, like where you grew up. Go ahead and put, if you have kids, and if they are adolescents, if they're babies, if they're teenagers, go ahead and put that in there as well. And also, comment on if you parent, if you are a parent, if you parent like your parents parented you. Because I know it's a lot of people growing up. You were out, that statement was said. I ain't gonna be nothing like my mama. I ain't gonna be nothing like my parents.
Right.
And then, some people turned out to be just like their parents, and some people went on the total opposite side of the game. And so, just for you right now, you already said you're from California, and you do have kids. What age group would you say that they fell into?
My daughter's about to turn 17, literally this month. So surprised. I can't believe that she's already 17. And then my son just turned 11.
Just turned 11. And they're both doing big things out here in these streets. Like I'm proud of them. Not that I get a chance to tell them all the time, but when I see them, like I said, I know that they're doing big things and got potential to do even bigger things. And a lot of that is just good genes, and some of it is the parents inside of it. So, as far as that, I know you're proud of them.
Yeah, I mean, as a person who had my daughter at 18 years old, it was rough. That was a time before social media. So having a young child was more embarrassing. I know now I kind of see it on Facebook. Girls 18, 19 have a baby. They posting ultrasound pictures, everybody thumbing up. I was like, it wasn't like that for me. It was like, dropped out of high school, hidden. Your family doesn't really want anybody to know. You're not going anywhere. It was a tough situation trying to find out how to juggle getting my GED, going to college, all while raising a newborn and working was insanity. And as a parent who had to kind of struggle through that, it's a lot different looking at it now backwards, and then also having my son who 10 years ago or 11 years ago, what it was like raising him at 23 versus 18. So two totally different experiences and totally different than my parents. My parents were both military. So growing up with a military family, it's kind of hands off. Dad's always deployed. You're with babysitters. You're with grandmas. You're with whoever will take care of you. So I think I have a totally different experience than my parents did raising me, which has influenced my parenting a lot.
Okay. And so when you say hands off, it was, of course, I'm sure they had something to do. Like their structure had to be present in some way. It wasn't just the nanny. As of course I'm married to one, and so while her structure is there for the 8 or 7 hours that she works, they're still going back to, hey, my mom or my dad is your employer in that way. And so it's still only so much as far as even discipline that could take place. Was discipline something? You don't seem like you needed that.
No, here's the thing. My dad was always gone. So weekends when he finally did come home, we were doing fun stuff. We were going to Chuck E. Cheese. We were going to the movies. There wasn't really a lot to get in trouble about. I maybe only remember one good whooping, and then after that, I was good. Like, I'm good. Let's just talk about it. we don't need to go there no more. But I was always super excited about doing well in school. So for me, coming home, when he finally got home, I was ready to show him what we had going on and take that opportunity to listen to any information he had to share with us about him traveling. So it was just a different experience. And so we had a lot of influence from people, as it takes a village. I remember a lot of people influencing me growing up. Like I said, grandmas, aunts, uncles. And I think that kind of maybe to some degree even led to the teen pregnancy, because at 18, you're trying to find yourself. You got a young guy, he's in your ear, you're kind of not balanced, like what's going on. I finally got out of my dad's house. When he had his thumb on me, it's all good. When his thumb came off and I got to come to Atlanta, it was a whole nother experience.
ATL. Okay. Dang. So, I guess, it's a little different because, like, I put it for me, like, that thumb lived on me
Brutal, always.
That thumb lived on, like, my brother and I lived on us in such a way, like, we already know that my mom was so much like my grandfather. My grandfather was a military guy, and she was the female version of him in the I ain't gonna say in the worst way, but I mean it's what it was. And seeing as though he only had girls, and then she just had two boys. She had two boys, and it was just us. In order for her to feel, she was like, I'm raising men. I'm raising gentlemen. So the only way, like, I could see my grandfather
in her.
Yeah, just in everything that she.
Did she get corporal punishment? Like, is that how she grew up?
I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it would be different to be out here having to put your hands on, or put a belt or a switch or whatever it is that they used back in the day, on three girls. Like,
right.
And so, do you find if you've ever had to discipline either one of them?
Oh, of course.
It's different
with a girl versus a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I say my son was a little more hard-headed. It took us a little more to get through him. He had to take a couple more whoopings than my daughter did. But I think it's also about who's the discipline is coming from. When her dad says something, I mean, she kind of shrivels on up. When I say something, me and her kind of have a different story. And then the same thing with his dad. So I think it depends on who it's coming from, who the respect more is from. But I do feel like I have to parent them differently, not necessarily just because of boy and girl. I don't think it's gender specific, but more just so catering specifically to their personality.
Okay. Yeah, I know we got our share. And you know what?
Of whoopings?
Oh yeah.
I might only remember 3 or 4 good whoopings, and then I was straight line. What you need me to do? I'm good. I'm focused. Military parents' whoopings are memorable.
Yeah, my mom was a whole lot worse. I mean, hard at whooping
than your dad
was. Yeah,
wow.
Absolutely. Like, I tell a story. Like, my dad, based on what we did, it was either 3 or 5.
The licks?
Yeah.
You got to pick them, or he just...
No. It had to be a default
okay, so
based on what we did. And
that's a pretty good... I mean, 3 licks ain't bad. You can kind of grimace through 3 licks.
I mean, but he wasn't out here. I don't think he was out here trying to thrash us in that.
But mom wasn't counting.
No. No.
Till she got tired.
It was till she felt like we got it. And I'm talking about, it was lips curled, eyebrows crunched, bam, 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 bam.
Would you consider these whoopable offenses looking back?
Some. Others was one of those situations where, I mean, of course, it's coming from me as the one that got him.
Yeah. So
you never really felt like you 100% deserved it, but at the same time, it'd be maybe if I said something to my brother and he laughed. I mean, he cried, and she was like, "Well, I did this." Our stories conflicted because he was trying to get me in trouble. Yeah, we both.
A whooping over that?
Both of us. Story conflicted. She didn't know who to whoop.
So do you think the whoopings were progressive and actually curbing the behavior? If that's actually the point of it, like the punishment is to curb the behavior, is the behavior actually being curbed?
And up to a certain point, like I think the punishments were worse. Like the whoopings we got used to. I mean, when you know it's coming, it's temporary pain, and then it's like, all right, we can deal with that. But we weren't doing anything bad.
Right.
Like, we played. This is what boys do. We played.
Right.
And so that was one of the things that we got in trouble for. We played. Like, I had people tell me to this day, "Hey man, I didn't know you was funny." Like, and I was like, well, we weren't allowed to be funny back then. We weren't allowed to, like, we got in trouble for playing in that way. And so, like, I couldn't see my grandfather being like, hey, unless it was sports, all that playing and laughing and giggling and stuff that we did, or watching wrestling and cartoons and Martin and thinking that stuff was funny. Like, no. That just wasn't.
And I think that's kind of where I've taken a progressive approach in parenting. Like, I noticed my son early on was funny, but funny in some people's household can be taken as a smart ass, can be taken as talking back, can be taken as disrespectful. He doesn't know his place. Why is he talking to adults? And in my household, I allow him to talk and us to have conversation. I allow him to ask questions. He could ask, hey, you need to go to bed. Well, what time? Well, it's 9 o'clock. Well, can I stay at 9:30 if I do this, this, and this? Now, some people are like, you're going to let him tell you what time he can go to bed? But like we have this relationship where I'm like, all right, let me hear your argument. I like that he can come up with an argument and I challenged him to make it make sense for me. So why should I allow you to stay up? Well, I want to play the video game. Okay, and so what are you going to do if I let you play the video game? Well, if you let me play the video game, then when I get up tomorrow morning, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z and this. Okay, well, I like your argument. Because you came up with an argument that makes sense, I'm willing to let you stay up another 30 minutes.
So in that situation, how often is the follow through?
The follow through is really good because what happens is, as long as you go the next time, if he doesn't do it, next time say, nope, last time you told me you were going to do this, you didn't. So therefore, you don't get that. Okay. So it becomes a learning experience. And now I took that talking back and I put him in improv comedy. So he goes on Saturdays, he goes to an improv comedy theater where he learns to use the comedy and use the talking back in a way that he can be funny and people can clap for it. So now you take something that could be a problem and steer it into something that's constructive.
I tell you what, yeah, that none of that. I was told coming up, if you grin, you in. So it wasn't about it was no being funny. Zero jokes or anything like that. If you're in school and you're laughing with the kids, that's funny. Or if you make a joke and everybody else think it's funny, and even if they repeat it and you didn't say it again, you in trouble.
Got it.
And I mean, that was just what it was for us. And so, yeah, trying to be out here making jokes or being funny in that way. None of that stuff was even thought of until like after I got out the house. And so like when you talk about someone being like sheltered, like I was sheltered in that way. Like I wasn't like, yeah, she wanted me to be expressive out on the basketball court, but like that was the only place
where you had an outlet.
And so it was hard. That became the outlet. Like that was the only place that I was able to actually be out there and be expressive. Because that you talking back, no. Oh well, yeah, you calling me a lie?
Oh, here we go.
Like
there's no winning.
No, it wasn't no win.
Right.
Like she's still undefeated in arguments. Like that part. I mean, she's in here, so she know I ain't lying. I mean, I'm grown now, so I can say this stuff, but I mean, I'm not lying. But this is what it was. But I know it's totally different now. Just because you see the kids nowadays. They are of the like we grew up in the respect your elder situation, and it was in the respect your elder regardless. Like it wasn't a choice. It was respect your elder. It wasn't a oh well, you don't respect me, so I'm not gonna respect you.
True.
None of that. Like if you were having a conversation that elder did not feel like you should have, and regardless of the content, like that had to be it. Because if they said something to your parent,
right,
your parent's gonna have to come see you. Y'all gonna have to have a conversation. Whereas, shoot, nowadays, I heard some kids talking about sucking this and hitting that, and I'm talking about like you 12, like your thing don't even work well. like right now your thing, you still don't have zero control. Like you don't even. It just be hard for no reason. Like what are you talking about? But if I went like, hey, young man, y'all need to, you need to chill out. They would, if they went back, or if I was like, hey, I heard your son saying this and this and this, and that's just not something that a young man should be saying, or how he be dealing with another, with kids just that age. I might have to defend myself. And
absolutely.
Get cussed out. Who are you to tell me? And so it's
well, on the reverse spectrum, you have the teacher who tells the kid not to call him ma'am in class, and he gets in trouble in school because did you hear this story? The teachers.
No.
Oh, the little boy's calling her ma'am, and then the teacher's like, "Don't call me ma'am." And he's so ingrained in saying ma'am, he can't stop saying ma'am to her. And so she makes him write like 200 times, I will not say ma'am, I will not say ma'am. Parents get home and they go to the school like, what's up with this? Now there's a big divide. Like, well, if the teacher says do something, do what the teacher says do. And this boy's got home training that says you say ma'am to every woman and sir to every man that you meet, period.
And was it a function of the teacher being young?
I don't even believe she was young. She just didn't like it. I don't want to be called ma'am. You call me Mrs. Susan.
Wow.
So I think you have extremes on both sides of that. You know, these kids can be completely disrespectful, totally different age of parenting. They're exposed to so much. You know, my kids both have social media. I'm afraid of what they see, what they're exposed to, just on a daily basis from other kids who are wilding.
We're going to talk about, you know, the social media side of the game. As a matter of fact, let's just go ahead and, that was in next up in the next blog we was talking about information and the information that that these kids are privy to nowadays, which it could be a gift and a curse just because you want your kid to have information, but at what point do you buffer the information to maintain the innocence?
I don't know. I mean, you made a point earlier talking about kind of being closed off and feeling like basketball was the only place for you to have an outlet and kind of being sheltered. And I feel that with my kids particularly, that we want to have an open dialogue. So I want to be around while you're being exposed to these things so we can talk about them. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I have a pretty good relationship with them both where we're able to come home and talk about certain things that are going on. I mean, in high school, my daughter's talking about kids who are, you know, basically kicking it in the bathrooms, behind the bleachers, you know, and not to say this stuff wasn't happening when I remember in high school. It just seems a lot more vivid and a lot more like aggressive than what I remember. You know, like,
wow,
y'all did what?
Wow.
Yeah, that happened. And so when they're having these conversations, do I want her not to talk to me? Because they're happening. Mm-hmm. You know, I used to do phone checks with her. I say, all right, let me check your phone. I just want to go through, look at certain messages, see these inboxes, and it would be random. Oh, really, Mom? Yeah, let me check your phone. I just want to make sure that if she's talking about something that I need to know about, let's talk. It's not you're going to get in trouble. You're not going to get a whooping. I'm not going to take your phone away. But I need to know what you're talking about. What are your friends talking about?
Would you?
Would I what? Whoop her?
Would you take the phone?
If I thought it was something inappropriate, I'd be like, listen, we need to have some boundaries because you're on this, you know, maybe it's a nasty chat room and the girls acting wild and sharing crazy pictures and this and that. Like, I don't know. So I haven't found that, and that hasn't been the problem. Mm-hmm. But I feel like I have to be responsible enough to check it. Aaron, at one point, maybe he was about 2 or 3 years ago, he had to be about 8 or 9, was playing virtual reality video games. And I'm thinking, okay, no problem. You got a little virtual room. Mommy, look at the house I built. You know, it's like Minecraft, except for their little avatars. One day the girls run up to me and they're like, Mommy, Aaron's hunching. And I'm like, hunching? Who's he hunching? I'm looking, ain't nobody here. No, on the video game. I'm like, he's on the video game hunching? Yes, come look. I come. Aaron got his big headphones on and he's talking to his people, so he doesn't know we're behind him. And sure enough, he's got a little avatar over there hunching on the other avatar. I'm sitting here like, what is going on? Aaron! I go read through the chat. He's talking about being the sugar daddy and giving her some of his coins. Because they got video game coins, and she's over here asking him for the coins if he lets her, like, run. I said, what in the world are you? And I'm disconnected to this video game, which is just like going into different rooms. You're actually active with other people. Oh. And these kids can pretend like they're 12 or 13, but they might be 30. Mm-hmm. And so I'm like, wait, this game is a no-go. Like, I need to know who you're talking to, who these people are. And when I hear them talking, who's this? Is this somebody from school? You can only chat and do, you know, these online conferences, be a video game with people I know.
Right. And so that was one of the things that, you know, the video games you have so much access to. Other people with like the PlayStation 4s and being able to, you know,
connect
and have all these random people talking to you. You don't know who's playing on the other end. And so it's access to the world, mm-hmm. but also the world's access to
your kid.
Your kid. And once again, like I said, trying to be that buffer so that no one gets to a point where they're able to actually invade your home situation in that way, because that's a scary proposition. Hell, we've seen it. You know, we've seen it in particular. I mean, movies. And people can say, yeah, it's a movie and this and that, but at the same time, I still feel like it's some of that stuff that can be real out here. And so, whether you might have a kid that's sitting up there, or somebody that might be, I don't know, 18 or something. We've all seen older people that look just a little young. Somebody daddy sitting up in here right now. Might be on the young side of the game. It might look like he's about 38. But just saying.
It's crazy.
And so you get an 18-year-old girl that could put her hair up in a little ponytail and start luring in kids that might be 13, 14. And it's like, wow, like, no, this is not what this is set up for, but you still gotta monitor
It's
all
predators.
of this stuff.
Absolutely.
Monitor all of this stuff. And I'm trying to think what movie we were watching. I think it might have been Traffic or something like that, mm-hmm. where, it was that situation in which, somebody had kidnapped a girl and was forcing her to lure in these other kids, and it was like, well, I'll let you go if you get me somebody else.
Crazy.
And it was just one of those things over and over and over again. Let me see in the chat room. I can't see more, but for sure my generation did some of the same things that are happening now. Grandma said there are no new. I can't read the rest of that, but I'm probably saying there's no new tricks to the game.
Yeah, no new things. More people are doing more things that we call outrageous.
Yeah, like that's the I'm gonna turn this like that. This probably gonna be weird for them, but don't nobody care nothing about that. What up, Yum? But it's just, it is funny. Like it's a whole bunch of things. Like when I taught English over in South Korea, the kids tried stuff. It was always stuff. Even if it might have been in another language, they all tried stuff.
Sure.
And so I was like, just because kids think they coming up with new stuff, whether it's new ways to cheat, hey, give me your phone. Like I know what this is.
Right.
New way. I'm a speak in Korean so that you might not be able to. So we think that you may not be able to understand what we're saying, but I learned some. So you still can't pull that on me. Like I'm not going. No. It's not going like you think it's gonna go.
Right.
They not watching. Hey, so what's the most embarrassing thing you caught them try to get away with?
The kids?
Yeah.
I think that was, for Aaron, that was one of the ones that we had to have the talk.
Oh, yeah.
You hunching on the game. You over here giving this girl your coins. You talking about sugar daddy. I didn't know where. I'm like, what is going on? I'm behind like 10 steps. We have to have like 5 conversations in one. And really kind of clue him in on, do you know what you're saying? What is a sugar daddy to you? Mm-hmm. And really a lot of this stuff just became from exposure. He was watching it happen in there. He was listening to other kids talk about it. He's following these chats. So he's picking up on the language. Half the stuff, he didn't even know what it really meant. He's just mimicking.
So did he tell, like, so he told
at 9 years old, he's just mimicking.
He didn't know necessarily.
I don't know what a sugar daddy is, but when they, in the chat room, when they talk about sugar daddy, then they give their money to the girls that are in the chat. The guys give them their money when they say they want a sugar daddy. So I said, so you go play all these games, beat up all these coins. He's tricking at 8. What's going on? This is crazy. Like you don't even know what's going on. And then one time he got his password hacked because he gave it to somebody who he thought was a friend that was like, hey, look, I'm going to play your game for a day. You play my game for a day. Now, he over here asking me for money, $20, $30 to go put on these video game cards. Mm-hmm. And one day he gets hacked because he done gave his password out because he thinks somebody innocently just wants to, let's switch games for a day. No, that man wiped his account clean. Then I had to change that, delete the account. It was all this. I said, again, this is a learning experience.
Right.
You got. And you keep putting yourself in this position, you're going to continue to get got. And I'm not giving you no more money. You're going to have to do some chores, clean up. And if I just say no video games forever, I think you're being delusional. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Right. This is the day and age where the kids are doing it. It just has to be monitored. It has to be controlled.
All right. That was one of the things, like, having something like that, like access versus innocence. And so you might have a situation in which that right there, like, you got. Like, it's a cold game, but at the same time,
he's crying. Like, $35 gone.
Like, I got to work for a whole $35. I ain't letting nobody ever in life get my password, ever.
But it's not my fault. It's your fault.
Gotcha.
Lesson learned. How long did it take you to raise that $35? About 3 months?
Absolutely.
As an expensive lesson.
So you allow them to have social media. Do y'all all allow y'all kids to have social media? And are y'all friends?
Aaron does not have social media. I run his social media pages just for his acting, for his his comedy and all that. I run all his pages, so he has no access to it. He can't see it. Every once in a while, when someone says something positive about it, I'll show him. Like, hey, look, you got some nice comments. Akira has a Facebook and an Instagram. I don't monitor her as much as I used to when she was younger. I feel like she has a good control over it. You know, I feel like she's mature enough. She's 17. We've talked about it. I watch her Instagram stories. It's lame. You know, now I don't know what story she's watching, but at the same time, we got to talk about it because I can't prevent her from everything. There's so much nude stuff. There's so many different portals and channels I don't even know about. Snapchat, I could never get into. That's not my thing. But I know there's some crazy stuff on Snapchat that disappears. But if I think I'm going to shelter her from every little thing or delete it off her phone or, you know, I just think you're not necessarily being realistic. I think if you teach your kids good morals and values, teach them to have a good character, understand right from wrong, and let them make good decisions, that is going to be a better guideline than feeling like you got to crack the whip on every little thing that they do.
I agree. And I've had that conversation. And so parents, if this is the part where we telling you how to raise your kids. I'm just playing. I do believe that most parents know when they feel like they've done a good job with their kids. And in a lot of situations, you know, if you feel like you did a good job, then you are less likely to be as overbearing. On the other hand, if you don't feel like you've done a good job, then you still feel that need to be overbearing. And there's been plenty of situations in which I had to tell my mom, like, Mom, like, listen, you have to trust that you did a good job. Like, you know, up until this point, like, and of course it's the basics, like, yeah, we've never been arrested, we've never been in trouble, we've never been in jail, anything like that. Like, that stuff that's supposed to happen, I don't feel like we graduated and been to school and, you know, this stuff.
That's amazing to not be arrested.
Ain't, like, I pulled over a couple times, but you're going to talk about that. But it's one of those things where it's like, all right, now.
You've done a good job.
You have to trust that you've done a good job. You do a lot of bragging about it. Like,
at one point.
Believe in that. And so, even though the level of exposure and, you know, I had to deal with her hanging up on women but girls that used to call me back in the day before I had a cell phone. Before I had a cell phone. Like, when'd you get a cell phone?
I might have been 17. I had a pager, but I don't think I had a real phone until I was probably 18 and somewhere around that age. Right. My kids, though, had them at 9 and 10.
Yeah, see, and
it was just different. But, I mean, they had after-school stuff. Me and her dad had split up, so she'd go to her dad's house. I want to get in touch with her. So it was just a different day and age where communication is needed to be happen quicker. Mm-hmm. I didn't want to have to go through him to get to her. And I tell you, it was a weird thing. First time my kid texted me and emailed me, it was kind of like, whoa. Because there's nothing I never experienced. I never experienced having that type of level of instant communication with my parents. Right. You didn't talk to them like that. You know what I mean? You ain't texting your mom and dad. You wait till they got home and you have a conversation. You know? Yeah. When your kid's texting you, like, can you get some milk? Or texting you, like, what's for dinner? You don't know, do I need to check them? Like, don't be checking me about what's dinner. Dinner's what, you know, or do you just open up the dialogue? Like, sure. What do you want for dinner? That's like the new age of kind of figuring it out.
Speaking of what you want for dinner, we never had a choice.
Right.
we never had a choice up until
they not asking you.
We was probably about 14 to 15, maybe older than that.
You eat what's on the table.
So she started saying, what y'all want for dinner? And the problem with that was we never had an answer because we never got a chance to choose. One of those things. So, you know, when they was like, hey, baby, what you want for dinner? I'm like, I don't know.
That's funny.
This is whatever you make. This is what it is. I eat.
Right.
This is what it is.
So I have one kid who's extremely opinionated about what they want and one that just does not have an answer. But she doesn't want anything her brother wants. So Aaron's like hibachi, crab legs. He gonna go all the way out. Chinese. He's got always an answer. And Kara's like, no, I don't want that. No, well, Kara, what do you want? I don't know, but I don't want hibachi. Like, you two are going to drive me crazy. I'm making the decision tonight.
Oh, man. Hey, Dad, can you call in and tell us what that conversation was? The phone number is 470-251-4343. It's right there. Right there. I'm pointing kind of in that direction, but it's right there. 470-251-4343. There we go. But look, and before we move on, and before he called, let me go ahead and hit y'all with this good read from one of our sponsors. Have you ever been dirty? Do you know somebody with a big head? Do you got an uncle that got musty they got musty t-shirts? If you answer yes to any of these questions, you need to call Beyond Clean Cleaning Services at 708-829-4102. Beyond Clean Cleaning Services has been taking care of corporate cleaning needs in the Chicagoland, Indiana area for almost 10 years. Superior Service is their product, and your building is not clean unless it's beyond clean. There we go. But look, hey, what's up, Birdie? But look, all right, so, yeah, it's a whole bunch of stuff. But, yeah, I didn't get a choice. We didn't get choices on what to eat. And, like if I'm at home by myself, yeah, I'll go in there and figure out something. Like when I live by myself. All right, let's see. 710 to Slickville. Who we got on the line?
Hey, you know who this is. How you doing?
What's going on, Pops?
Not a lot. Listen, I was listening to the show, enjoying it. Good to see you, girl. She looking good as usual. But you don't remember that conversation we had when you finally called?
Yeah, you have to refresh me. I'm old, man.
Okay, let me just tell you how it went. Hey, Dad, how you doing? I'm not smoking. I'm not drinking. I'm not getting high. And the first thing I told you was like, hey, man, I didn't call you for that. It's way too late. If you into all that after all this time, it's too late, man.
Wow.
And after we got that settled, we've been having regular, real conversations ever since then. Because if you didn't get it by the time you hit freshman in college, 600 miles from me, 300 miles from your mom, it's too late, man. Like you said, if you don't get that training early, when you get out on your own, it's going to be a problem. And so I didn't even want to go there with you because if you didn't understand, we would all going to know in a few minutes. It wouldn't even take very long. So I appreciated that conversation. You trying to tell me all that you wasn't doing, but I didn't call for that. I knew that you shouldn't have been doing that. I knew that you knew better than that. And so the thing was, that put us on I would say on a man-to-man level from that point. We were no longer dad and son. We were to a point that we could talk real, and we've been real ever since. And I appreciated that. I really did.
Oh,
I just wanted to call. I've been saying different stuff in the room, man, but I definitely remember that. And she said a lot of things that I agreed with about the value of the early discipline, and then do you understand what's supposed to be gotten out of discipline? And once the understanding is achieved, a lot of the beatdowns just don't even be necessary if you get it. If you truly get it, that's what it's about. And while I got you on the line, I know your brother's in the chat room. You remember the worst thing he did was set that clothes hamper on fire.
Absolutely.
And, he had sister enough to come and say, Dad, hey, it's some fire and smoke upstairs. And I was like, what? Yeah, I think it's burnt. And I appreciated him telling the truth so much. That was the worst thing he ever did, playing with fire. But he didn't get whooping for that because the truth was more important than the fact that he actually was playing with fire. He came and told the truth, let us know what was happening. We was able to get it under control. And again, that speaks volume of him. Of course, he was afraid, but at the same time, the truth came out of the fear, and there was no discipline for that because he knew that was the wrong thing to do. And we never had another match burning situation out of you or him. So anyway, I'm not going to hold you up, man, but good to hear the show tonight. Girl looking good as usual. I put in there earlier, I want to talk about some cars, but I need to elevate my riding game.
Well, you hit me up, you get in them DMs, and we'll talk about it.
I will do that. All right, y'all have a good night.
Thank
Talk to you later.
All right, Dad. Appreciate it, Dad.
All right, easy.
All right, now. That's hilarious.
That's real. Telling the truth. I tell my kids that's one thing. Tell the truth. I'll take the truth, and I will help you stay out of trouble by telling me the truth over lying to me any day.
Right.
Absolutely. That'll avoid a lot of whoopings and a lot of arguments. Just tell me the truth. What happened? What do we need to do to fix it? What did you do wrong? What do you think I should do? And I'll ask them, well, what do you think that should happen?
Jill, my brother Jillian said, Dad, I hear snitching. Hey, but yeah, like, I mean, that was one thing that coming up, you know, we told our share lies. Other times we just didn't know how stuff got broke around the house. And so,
right.
I mean, the lie happened. It was just like, hey, so how'd that fall?
Right.
And might be playing in one room. The vibrations from us playing made a vase fall in another room, but we couldn't speak on that. Like, we had no idea.
Yeah.
And so we were like, yeah, y'all know. No, we didn't. Oh, well, I don't. We both had to get whoopings for that.
Well, there's so much serious stuff happening now. I try not to limit my discipline on the small things. Yeah, you got your bad grades. We're going to talk about it. We need to fix it. We can do some discipline stuff. But kind of as we talked about earlier, I have to expose both my son and daughter to what's happening in the news, to explaining to them, what's happening to black men, young black men. I mean, most recently, you can tell your kids, oh, make sure you're respectful to cops, or make sure you do this or that. But what happens when you're just in your room at night and somebody's knocking on your door, and how do you avoid that? And how do you talk to your kids about these type of scenarios that they're seeing in the news and that they're talking about at school, and be unbiased, but yet helping them to realize, like, this is real. I don't want you to be scared, but this is real.
That was so when I was writing and coming up with what I wanted to talk about on this show, and trying to figure out how I would explain that, because that's not something that when I first started driving, that wasn't a conversation that my dad and I had.
Right.
It was one of those things where it was just like, make sure you're careful when you're out there.
Turn your turn signal on.
Don't be out here drinking and driving.
Right.
Put your seatbelt on. And you just never thought that would be it. Now, I have had times where I had to deal with some police officers in a predominantly white neighborhood, and they were asking what I was doing out there. And the way the question was asked, I didn't understand what he was asking, because it was like, hey, what are you doing out here? And I'm like, well, shoot, my girlfriend and I, we out at this park. We just out here talking. He's like, no, what are you doing out here?
Right. And
it never registered to me at that time until he started getting like real hostile. Like, do you not understand what I'm asking you? Like, it was almost to that point, and I wasn't trying to be smart, but I just did not understand what
I was doing wrong. Right. What are you actually saying to me?
And so she was like, then she answered, I live out here.
Mm. Wow.
And so I'm looking at him like, so what does that matter? Like, you mean to tell me my car, this is 20 minutes. This is a 20-minute ride. And so he was just like, well, your car is registered to this place, and so I'm trying to figure out what you're doing out here. Wow. And I was just like, and so those type of situations in which I heard this football player, this old football player, Mark Slayers, he was talking about how he never thought to even think about having that conversation with his sons, because it was just not anything that they ever had to worry about, like being in the wrong neighborhood. Like that just wasn't what it was.
It's real. I was driving with my kids. We had just left a movie in Cobb County, and I work at Audi. It's not a deal. I drive a very expensive car that I have on lease, and I had a dealer tag on it. And this officer pulled me over, shined his lights, told me to put my hands on the steering wheel, and is like, pulls up, ma'am, can I get your license? Yes. I said, all right, I need to go to the glove box, get my, no, ma'am, keep your hands on the steering wheel. So I'm sitting here with my hands on the steering wheel, like, sir, do you want me to get my stuff? Then he was like, you don't have to go, I don't want you to reach for your glove box, but you can get your driver's license. I get my driver's license, I show it to him. He's like, ma'am, whose car is this? This is my car. Mm-hmm. Why are you driving a car with a dealer tag? Sir, I work at the dealership. that doesn't matter. You shouldn't have a dealer tag. Only the owner has a dealer tag, which is complete BS. He has no idea what he's talking about.
Right.
He's harassing me. I'm showing him a business card. We go through this whole rigmarole. It took about 15 to 20 minutes for him to realize I had insurance. It was supposed to be my car. I was registered as a demo as a dealer. And then says, ma'am, in the future, don't drive on a demo tag. Get a real tag. You can go. It's crazy. With the kids in the car. You think we didn't have to have a conversation about that? Oh, absolutely.
I'm sure. But what was that? Do you feel like they understood or?
They did, and it's sad because I don't want my kids to hate the police. I don't want to feel like there's some type, you know what I mean? You don't like, oh, I don't like the cops. Aaron gets this. Well, I don't like cops. Because I've had several experiences with officers. I've been arrested unwillfully. I was wrongly arrested, wrongly accused, to the point that I ended up having to sue the Johns Creek Police Department for wrongful arrest. Like, that's how bad it got. Oh. So my kids have seen and been exposed to both sides of failed protection. Mm-hmm. And how do you reinstill the trust to them that if something were bad to happen, I want you to feel comfortable to call 911. I want you to feel comfortable that if police come, that they can't help you. But that there are some bad police, like there are bad other things. There's bad judges, there's bad teachers. Mm-hmm. So I try to remind them that behind the uniform is a real person, and that each person has to make an individualized choice to be a good person or a bad person. And that's what you have to teach them. Not cops are bad or cops are good, but people can be bad in their role as a cop.
Yeah, I guess the unfortunate part is that that's what you see. Like, if the only time you see a police doing good stuff is when they're doing the kiki or out there, you know, doing some kind of challenge on social media, I mean, yeah, that's that. It's exactly what it is. It's on social media, whereas some of that stuff, a lot of social media stuff don't feel real. Whereas, you know, when you hear the stories about the Dallas police officer going in somebody else's apartment and she felt like it was hers, and it's just like, wait a minute, no, that something about that don't sound right. But if you hear about the Trayvon Martin, shout out to the shirt, like these are the things that it's hard to understand, because, you know, even as I would feel like as a parent, like, just going home or walking to the store and you have somebody that just feels like, you know, this is going to be the day that I'm going to be a hero for whatever reason, and I'm going to try to make my mark. And, you know, if anybody chose to do any research, they like, man, this dude walking around, he chilling, he's signing Skittle bags and whatnot. And
that's
it's
crazy.
Just like, so without trying to drain them from any sense of hope that the system as a whole is broken or not on your side, like you don't have a shot, so what am I supposed to do?
Right.
I mean, hell, LeBron James out here getting N-word spray painted on his stuff, and you know, you have to answer questions about why do people feel like they feel about the president. You know, I thought this was supposed to be a prestigious seat, a prestigious career or a job or whatever that someone's supposed to hold. Like, no one could have ever told me, you know, when I was coming up, that if I had a chance, like, well, I put it to you like this, that there would be some people that would be like, I would never want to be the president, or this person, like, we would have somebody that's a horrible president, and not just in a bad policy kind of way, like, but just like, hey, you out here really messing up in these streets in a way that you offend more people than you bring on your side, and it's just like, and so
it was crazy. I mean, Aaron at the time before Trump was elected, all he knew was Obama, and I made sure we had to have a conversation, because I was like, Obama's been president your whole life, so he didn't really understand the value of what it meant to have Obama as president. And I literally had to pull out one of the little presidential charts and show him each president and how long it took to get there and how long each one of them was in office to get to where we are right now, and to understand the value of what that actually meant, to bring his mind around it. So to go from an Obama president, which he reverenced, to Trump is such a stark difference, you know, that you have to open up their mindset to understanding what that really means. And I kind of played around with it kind of, you know, in a joking way to help a 9-10-year-old understand, to say, listen, what this means is anybody can be president, including you. You don't necessarily have to go to the military or spend time as a governor, or all the things that were previously prerequisites for being president have been broken.
Right.
So if you didn't think you could do it because you were black, that's been broken. If you didn't think you could do it because you haven't had this, this, and this behind you, that's been broken. So son, be anything you want to be.
You know, the funny thing was people said, you know, anybody can be the president.
Anybody.
And they said it back then, and of course
In a
it was
joking
one of those
kind.
things that was just like, yeah, you can be anything you want. You can even
you could
be
be
the president. And then it's like, oh, yeah, you can.
You really can.
You can be whatever. Look, I keep talking about it, and the feed gonna start going dead. But no, I mean it's just it's just what it is, and it feels weird to even think about that. You would have to explain to you know your child or a child like why people don't like this person, why people don't like the leader of the country, or why because it's different from a basketball player. Like
Sure.
Like if you don't like Team USA,
Right.
you'd be like, why don't you like Team USA? Even if it's a soccer, volleyball, basketball team,
Yeah.
baseball team, whatever, gymnastics, swimming, like if you're not rooting for them to win a little individual sport, then it's like, all right, so what's really going on? But it's people out here like they don't not only represent like, or you have to explain to that kid like how come the Seattle Storm don't want to go to the White House,
Right.
or,
Yeah, these are real conversations. And a lot of times the kids know. They bring it to you. Hey, did you hear about this? Did you hear about this? And you talk through it, and those are regular table conversations. But giving them a chance to express, and I try not to force my opinion on them. I just want to hear what their opinions are. Help them flesh through it in their own mind to have an understanding of what they're seeing. And that evolves. You know, Akira is extremely open-minded about everything. She's one of these people that want to love everybody and love everything. So she tends to kind of wrap her arms around everybody. Don't be mean. Don't say that, you know. Yeah, so she's kind of kumbaya. Well, that's okay. Okay. I'm going to let her have her thoughts, you know. I don't want to force my thoughts on her about what should or shouldn't be happening in politics, but I want to give her an expression and a place to speak on it. I think that's the key, as long as you can talk.
you also like still trying to preserve that innocence without her getting got by somebody that's out there looking to take advantage of somebody that's just
naive or gullible.
Nice, like, hey, you know, nice, like, I mean, that's happened. You know, all of this stuff happened. Would you consider yourself on the strict side, or?
Probably not.
Oh, no.
I'm not a very strict parent. I mean, I am when it comes to certain things. You know, I want my kids to like make sure you clean your room. I want you to brush your teeth in the morning. There's some things that I feel like are just like basics. Like, you're gonna leave this house, know how to take care of yourself. But there's other things that I'm very kind of like relaxed about, and I think probably some of it's just being a young parent when I was younger, having them at 18 and 22. It wasn't about being strict. It was about surviving.
Right.
You know, it was like, do we got food tonight? Yes. Are the lights on? Yes. Like, have we survived another month? So, you know, me and my kids had to we struggled through that time period together. And when you're struggling like that, whether or not this kid came home with dirt on his pants, or whether, you know, like certain things other parents might get mad about, oh, your pants are dirty, or oh, you didn't clean your, you know, it's like, it wasn't really the focus. It was like, are you guys healthy? Are you safe? Did you eat?
Right. Do you feel like that helped you? Because not everybody deals with those type of scenarios the same way, and so you have younger parents that, you know, in that situation they're like, oh, my option is to give up the kid. 710 Slickville, what's going on, Mel, man?
Man, it's Mel, man, aka King Petty, man. What's going on?
That's what I'm talking about. I'm glad you got it in these last 4 minutes.
Yeah, I had a slide in there, man. I was listening to the show. I just didn't want to interrupt nothing. I saw y'all talking about the kids. Speaking of kids, I'm about to go in there and wake my son up and make him go brush his teeth.
Hey, man.
He think he gonna get away. He went in there and fell asleep, and he didn't even say good night. He fell asleep. So he gonna get away. I'm about to go wake him up and brush his teeth.
Hey, because you know you gotta let him know, like, and he about that age where he gonna be trying to holler at them little young dips. They don't like
He already looking at his appearance and everything. Man, when I was 10, I'll be looking at him, man, and he be worrying about his appearance. Like, Dad, you know, this shirt feel like it's getting shorter. And then he be talking about his pants. When he pants, I'm looking at him like, boy, when I was 10, I didn't even care if I had on a jogger with a big hole in it.
Yeah, they all have holes in the knees at that age.
Yeah.
Grass stains.
Yeah, he told me the other day, he said, Daddy, I don't have no jeans with no style.
Oh.
I said, what?
Oh.
Jeans with style? Well, if you don't put these jeans on, why you got these jeans for $10?
Is Aaron there yet?
No, I'm like Aaron. That you wore that yesterday, right? But I didn't sweat in it. Aaron, would you take a shower? What day is today? If you got to remember what day it is, you ain't take a shower. You gotta take a shower every day. Like, these are still the conversations. He's 11, so no, he ain't caring about his style. He cares about his hair, which is funny. He's got a little high top, so he's more interested in his hair. But I gotta worry about them underarms.
You're right there. Oh yeah. Shout out to Musty. Shout out to Musty preteens. That's what I'm talking about.
I had to start getting on my son though earlier though. When he was a few years back though, he thought it was slick. I would tell him go brush his teeth, and he was going there. He'd run the water.
Oh yeah, we had
and
that.
And then I go in there, and then the toothbrush in there dry.
Yeah. What about fake bath? I mean, he's sitting in the bathroom for 20 minutes with the water running, sitting on the toilet on his phone. I'm like, if you're gonna be in there anyway, wash up. What's wrong with you?
Got that water bill burning up for no reason.
Think he's slick.
These kids think they slick.
You don't get there and brush your teeth.
Yeah, man. That's what I'm talking about. Man, you sitting up here, you done called at the last minute, man. I got a minute left. I gotta get this little I gotta get a couple more announcements in real quick before I get on up out of here.
Man. I was just jumping in real quick before y'all got off. I'd like to say y'all were going at it with the stuff, so I ain't want to just jump in and mess nothing up.
Oh, it's all good, man. Tell them, man, I said, what's up, man, when you get him up to brush them teeth.
Yep, I'm going to tell him in about 5 minutes when he got that matter in his eyes.
Wake him up out of that good dream. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. But, man, take it easy, man. I'm going to holler at y'all.
All right, y'all take care.
Mailman Moby in the house. What's up? Hey, before we get out of here, everybody, if you're in the Atlanta area, the Status Network launch party will be Sunday, September 30th. It's free. I said once again, it is free. So you come on out, bring your mama, bring your daddy, bring that uncle that not the one that be getting wasted and not the one that steal. But if they reform, go ahead and bring them. It's a launch party, empowerment concert. We got vendor space available. We got multiple TV and radio stations going to be out there. It's going to be giveaways, free food. It's going from 3 to 7 o'clock p.m. Like I said, you can bring kids. Just come on out, kick it with us. I'll be out there. Like I said, if you're in the Atlanta area, come on out there. Sunday, September 30th, the Status Network launch party. And we out here in these streets, yo. But until next time, I will be back. Same time next Monday. That'll be the 24th. We'll be talking ER tales with an ER nurse that used to work at all these little hospitals around here. And I'm telling you, this is going to be an interesting show. It's definitely going to be an interesting show talking about these ER. Listen, we're going to keep this conversation going. If you're in this chat room, go ahead. We're still talking about this, talking about these kids out here in these streets. Look, we're going to have to do a part 2 of this because it's a whole lot more stuff that we got to get
Absolutely.
to. But look, until next time, y'all be safe out in these streets. I'm going to holler at you.